Have you ever heard of using improv comedy for business? Well, here's a little clip from an interview I did with Bob Kuhlhan, the founder of Business Improv, and I love what they do. In fact, I actually took 8 weeks of improv comedy in Fort Worth at 4-day weekend to improve my facilitation skills. Now, I wasn't very good at it, but I learned a lot, and you're going to learn a lot from Bob. So I hope you enjoy Bob's definition of what improv is really about. This is just a short clip to get you interested in the full interview, and I'll have a link to that full interview in the YouTube notes below. A lot of people have different understandings of what improv is. I certainly did. When I first went, I thought, well, how do you be spontaneously funny? But that's not what it's about. So to get rid of some of the misconceptions, what's the biggest misconception when people talk about you or they introduce you at their dinner parties? What's the biggest misconception about what improv is all about?
You hit it right on the head. Comedy. It's really twofold, though. The first is comedy because that's how most people are associated with improvisation,
Right.
whether it's an improv or sketch comedy house or great TV shows like Whose Line Is It Anyway? It's introduced to us as a comedic format, so the association directly goes to comedy. And my base in Chicago, I rose to the highest stages possible in the hardest city to do it, and that was comedy, comedy, comedy. So I definitely am rooted in that capacity. That's how most people know it. The other way most people know it, though, is, well, this is what happens when the excrement hits the oscillator. And this is scramble. It's scramble. That's what improv
Yeah, yeah,
is.
yeah.
There's no
Right.
way to prepare for it. There's no way to train for it. And that's 100% wrong. It's not. Comedy is the outcome of that specific type of improvisation. And what you're doing in real time surely is rooted in improv, yet most people don't think about how to get better at that. And as you mentioned, in the last year, we've all been forced into change in some capacity. So the way that we define improv in business improv is on three core capacities, three core capabilities, which
Okay.
is reacting, adapting, and communicating. Reacting is presence and focus. Adapting is if you're doing it within parameters, like a strategy, for example, a
Mm.
sales conversation. You're reacting and adapting, and then subroot to both of these is communicating. Especially if you're leading change, you have to communicate. You have to take people with you. So really, if you focus on those three core competencies, reacting, adapting, communicating, the question isn't, do you need to do that? That's the answer. The question is, how do you get better at it? Improvisation at its core is a communication and collaboration based art form. And that transcends medium. You should be able to do this on the phone. You should be able to do it on site
Hmm.
with each other. You should be able to do it through this medium. And I say that because business improv has always been virtual for 21 years. New York, Chicago, LA, North Carolina. Those are our satellite offices. We have to communicate. We have to collaborate. We have to build cohesion. We have to build trust. This relates to morale. This relates to mindset, well-being, of getting people in that same space that we know we're not alone. Even though we're not next to each other, we can actually form those same type of bonds with each other because what we focus on are people skills, human connection with each other. And all of that relates directly to where we are right now.